Hey everyone, in this lecture I'm going to go a little bit deeper into pages and the layers section. It's still going to be a little bit basic overview, as in the layers section of this course we'll be getting into more in-depth looks of how to organize and things like that. But in this case I just want to talk about pages and just a little bit about the layers tab and how they work very well together. Now, as you saw in my introduction or the get started video, we had a brief introduction about how pages work with the canvases and whatnot. But I do want to go a little bit in depth as to how powerful pages are and how organized it is in conjunction with the layers section underneath it. So first off, when you create a page, as you saw in the first lecture, you hit the plus sign and you create a new page, and it will give you a default of page and then the number. However, pages can be used just as they are. They could be used as pages. So for example, if I'm going to be making a website, I can break down each website's page by its content. So for example, if I have a home page, I'm going to name my page home. The about page, I'll name it about. Blog will be blog. The content will be content, and contact us will be contact us. Now for this particular scenario, I only just have the home page up. And within the home page, I have the home artboard, as well as all the contents related to that specific artboard in the layers. So this is my parent layer, meaning it is the top layer that it's housed under, the overall section, and then everything under it is broken down into elements I have on the canvas. In this case, I have two rectangles. I have a series of other rectangles, which I named images, and then that is it. So I can go ahead and rename these. For example, this would be my footer of a website, and this will be my header. Now I'm not going to organize anything right now because I'll get into that in the layers section, so I'll just leave it as is. So now that that is done, if I go to, let's say, my about page, I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'm going to paste my canvas in there. There we go. And now I'm going to name this about. And now that you saw when I copied and pasted it in and copied all the elements, now if I don't need specific elements, I can go ahead and delete them if I wish. And if I want to throw in some text, I can. I'm going to use one of my plugins to throw in some fake text. And as you can see, as I'm doing this, the everything is laying at the top. So if I wanted to reorganize, I could just click and drag if I wish. I'll just leave it as is for now. So now if I go between home and about page, we see two different pages now. And I can keep doing this as I go to each page. You don't have to create the artboard again because you set your size of your web page. And I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but if you set your size of your web page or your project, and it's going to be consistent throughout the entire project, so let's make it a little vague in this case, a project, you can go ahead and copy your canvas and then paste it across the board and make necessary changes, so that way you don't have to spend time, which is very precious in this case, to go ahead and redesign everything. All you're doing is copying and pasting, renaming some pages, and that's it. It's really straightforward, really simple. Now just a quick thing about the layers. Let's say that you have a lot of layers. Let's say you have a lot of different folders and a lot of different individual layers, and it's getting really, really messy and you need to find something. Well, down here you have a little search icon with the word filter. This filters out all different types of layers within your layer. So if I go ahead and type images, it's going to go ahead and filter out everything and show me everything that's related to images. Really straightforward, really easy to do. Now, another thing you can do is by right-clicking, you'll get lots of different options. So if I click on the home, right-click on the home parent layer, I have the option to cut it, copy it, paste over it, duplicate it, delete it, ungroup it, and rename it. There's other elements that I can do but are blocked out because none of them are available at the current moment. Now, if I go ahead and click on a actual part of the layer, not the parent icon, or the parent layer, now I have more options. I have all the ones that it just showed me before, But now backwards is highlighted, meaning that I can move something back and it will move it down in the layer edge. So it's just another way to move something in the layer section. Now if there's a specific style that is associated with this, as you see from here when we created it beforehand, you can also, you can copy that and, where'd it go? Here we go. You can copy that and paste it onto the board if you wish. For any of you who are going to be doing coding, you can copy any CSS elements and export it out to your coding abilities. And as well as SVG code, the same will apply. You can group a selection. Instead of hitting Command G, you can group multiple selections. So for example, if I would like to group the header and the footer, I right click and I say group selections, and it will group it for me and name a group folder. I can also lock a layer, so if something is sitting on top and I do not wish to touch it, for example the header and the footer in this particular scenario, now it has been locked and now I cannot click on it. If I want to undo it, I just click on the little lock icon and it will unlock. Now, the next thing is transform. If you wish to transform something, you can flip it horizontally, vertically. You can rotate it negative 90 degrees or plus 90 degrees. But if you wanted to flip something, you can also go over here into this little section and flip it by clicking on one of these buttons. Really straightforward, really simple. Mask obviously is not selected, but we'll talk about in the mask section. And then we have create symbol and toggle click through. Toggle click through, I'll explain more in the layers section. You can actually turn that on and off via the preferences. And then the create symbol is going to be covered in the create symbol section. So really straightforward, really simple with layers. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with is, as you can see, we are hovering over these and now the eye icon is showing. This means you can hide or show specific layers inside your canvas. Now keep in mind, when you select a group, none of the elements within that group can be edited here. Anything you edit here will only apply to the group. So if I wanted to edit something specifically in the group, I have to open up my folder, click on it, and then all the elements are here that I can edit. So keep that in mind. Another thing you need to keep in mind is if you have a lot of things on your canvas and you need to find it, it's really, really hard to do so if you were working in Photoshop or Illustrator. You had to click a checkbox in Photoshop called show layers, if I believe. Did I Photoshop open? No, I don't. But it was in the upper left hand corner, and with your move tool you can click on a specific group or individual element and it'll allow you to find that element that was in your layers section. Well, no more. Now it's really, really easy by just hovering over your group or specific individual section, and it will highlight it blue for you. So it will show you exactly on the canvas where it is. In this case, I have grouped the header and the footer, so obviously it's going to group the entire canvas. If I do the images, it's going to show me the images, and it will show me the maximum width. In this case, this one, as you can see, kind of goes off the canvas a bit. So if I move this in from the edges, and then I go back, now it's somewhat more flush. I can make it very exact if I want it to be flush with the edges, but as you can see, it kind of tightened on in. And there you have it. That is a little more basics on layers. Very, very simple. If you do have a question of how do I change the color of these highlights, I don't actually think you can. I've tried to do it. I think it's just a defaulted color, unfortunately, but you can change the colors of your rulers, and I will show you that later on in probably the layers section. Alright, so that's it for this quick lecture. Hopefully it was very helpful for you. As we covered, pages are very important. You can individually name each page and organize them that way, so it's not all on one massive canvas. You can spread out your artboards on different types of pages, and then you can be a little bit more organized that way. It's very, very convenient, actually. And then, as we covered in layers, we have the parent one, which houses all the layers under it, and then we can create mini groups and find things by hovering over them as well, and turning them on and off by hitting the eye icon, and locking them by hitting the right mouse button or right clicking on your Mac and selecting lock layer. You could also hide the layer by doing that, but that's again the eye icon. So you could just hit that. But if you want to lock it, just click that. If you want to unlock it, click the lock and it will be unlocked. There you have it. That's a little recap. I'll see you guys in the next one. We'll be covering more Sketch stuff. See you guys there.